Welcome to our video exploring the fascinating world of Pokemon and their placement on the Tree of Life. Today, we take a closer look at Moltres and its connection to Fearow and Zapdos. Ready? Let's go. Aequornithes, also known as the core waterbirds, are defined under the phyllocode as the least inclusive crown clade containing Pelechanus onocrotalus and Gavia immer. In other words, the last common ancestor of the great white pelican and the common loon, along with all of its extinct and extant descendants. The monophily of this group is well supported by multiple molecular phylogenetic studies. The Aequornithes include the clades Gaviiformes, loons or divers, Spheniciformes, penguins, Procellariiformes, tubinoses and albatrosses, Ceconiiformes, storks, Suliformes, boobies, gannets, and cormorants, and Pelecaniformes, pelicans and their allies. Excluded from this group are several unrelated aquatic bird lineages, including flamingos and grebes, together forming Mirandornithes, shorebirds, gulls, and auks, Charadriiformes, as well as waterfowl, Anseriformes. The Aequornithes first appeared during the Maastrichtian stage of the late Cretaceous. The earliest known representative is Pujatopuli, discovered in the Lopez de Bertodano Formation on Seymour Island, Antarctica. Whole genome analyses of avian orders indicate that the Kagu and sunbittern, order Europygiformes, together with the three species of tropic birds, order Phaethontiformes, form the closest sister group to the Aequornithes. Collectively, these lineages are referred to as Europygimorphi, and together with Aequornithes, they form a larger clade known as Phaethocornithes. Within Aequornithes, storks form the sole family of the order Ceconiiformes. With 6 genera and around 20 species, storks occur on all continents except Antarctica. They are characterized by their long legs, long necks, and large, often elongated, bills. All storks are carnivorous, though their diets vary considerably among species. The best-known stork in Europe is the white stork, Ciconia ciconia. Other notable members include the marabou storks, Leptoptilos, and the yellow-billed stork, Mycteria ibis. Storks range from medium-sized to very large birds. Their height spans from approximately 75 centimeters in Abdim stork to 150 centimeters in the saddle-billed stork and marabous. Body mass ranges from about 1 kilogram in open bills to up to 9 kilograms in marabous. Long legs and necks are defining traits, while the tail is extremely short. Although storks superficially resemble herons, they are generally bulkier and heavier in build. The bill is always large, but shows remarkable variation in shape. A long, slender bill is found primarily in the genus Ciconia. In contrast, the bills of the saddle-billed stork, Jabiru, and especially the marabou stork are massive and slightly upturned. In marabous, the bill continues to grow throughout life and may reach up to 35 centimeters in length, functioning largely in intimidation and competitive displacement at carcasses. The yellow-billed stork and its relatives possess slightly down-curved bills equipped with sensory cells at the tip, which help detect prey in turbid water. Open bills have a distinctive gap between the upper and lower mandibles, an adaptation for extracting snails from their shells. In the stork's foot, the first toe points backward and the remaining 3 forward, an arrangement known as anisodactyly. Webbing is reduced to small remnants at the base of the toes. Their long legs facilitate slow, deliberate walking, and storks rarely move quickly except over very short distances. The wings are large and broad, well suited for soaring flight, which is typically punctuated only by occasional, slow wing beats. With a wingspan of up to 320 centimeters, marabou storks are surpassed in the bird world only by a few albatrosses and pelicans. Unlike other storks, marabous fly with their necks retracted, much like herons. All other storks, by contrast, typically fly with their necks outstretched, a feature that even laypeople can reliably use to distinguish storks from herons in flight. When storks fly in groups, they do not form organized flight formations. Stork plumage consists primarily of black and white tones, distributed differently depending on the species. The black feathers often show a metallic sheen, which becomes more pronounced during the breeding season, when the white plumage also appears brighter. This seasonal intensification applies even more strongly to the bare skin of the body. Many species have a largely unfeathered face, and in marabous, these naked areas extend far down the neck. The yellow-billed stork and its relatives benefit from this condition by preventing their plumage from becoming soiled while foraging in muddy water. Marabous, meanwhile, can insert their heads deep into carcasses without damaging their feathers. A slight sexual size dimorphism in favor of males exists in all stork species, though it is especially pronounced in the saddle-billed stork and the marabou stork. Contrary to frequent claims, storks are not voiceless. They are capable of producing croaking, squeaking, and mooing sounds. Species of the genus Aequornithes also emit whistling calls, which are particularly noticeable in the black stork and much less developed in the white stork. Even better known than these vocalizations is bill clattering, a non-vocal sound most highly developed in the white stork and commonly used in social and courtship contexts. Storks are distributed across large parts of Eurasia, Africa, Australia, and South America. In North America, however, they occur only in the extreme south. Most species are native to the tropics, and only 3 species regularly inhabit temperate regions. Storks differ greatly in how strongly they depend on water and seasonally wet habitats. The yellow-billed stork and the openbills are closely tied to shorelines throughout their lives, whereas marabous and Abdim's storks often roam open savannas far from water. Most species, however, live at least in proximity to swamps, lakes, or riverbanks. Because the migration of the white stork is so famous, it may come as a surprise that most stork species are not migratory. Many remain close to their breeding areas and undertake only local movements outside the breeding season. The white stork, by contrast, is a pronounced long-distance migrant. Individuals from some northern European populations travel up to 20,000 kilometers annually between their breeding grounds and African wintering areas. The black stork and the black-necked stork also breed in temperate regions and migrate southward during winter. Abdim's stork, despite being a tropical species, is likewise a true migrant. It breeds in steppes and semi-deserts north of the equator and winters in the savannas of eastern and southern Africa. Storks are primarily diurnal birds. Only the forest stork has been observed foraging at night. All other species rest during nighttime hours. In the tropics, storks are most active during the morning and evening, while in temperate regions their activity is spread more evenly throughout the day. Many storks are highly sensitive to weather conditions. Cold and rain, for example, may cause the white stork to abandon its brood. Standing on one leg is interpreted as a way to reduce heat loss, with one leg kept warm under the plumage so that less bare skin is exposed. Tucking the bill into the neck feathers may serve a similar function. In most stork habitats, however, heat presents the greater challenge. Spreading the wings, fluffing the feathers, and even defecating on their own legs are strategies used to prevent overheating. Storks are carnivorous birds. Although dietary preferences vary widely among species, fish, frogs, rodents, and insects form the primary food sources for most storks. The white stork, the woolly-necked stork, and most other members of the genus Aequornithes, with the notable exception of Abdim's stork, are highly opportunistic feeders, exploiting whatever prey is most readily available in their environment. Although popular belief holds that frogs are the main food of the white stork, in reality, they make up only a small fraction of its diet. A much larger share consists of fish, tadpoles, snakes, lizards, voles, moles, and hamsters, as well as large insects. White storks are particularly well known in their African wintering grounds for consuming locusts in large numbers. The capture of weasels, young goats, and cats has been documented, though such events are rare and exceptional. Typically, these true storks stalk their prey with slow, deliberate steps before striking with lightning speed. The larger storks, as well as the jabiru, feed in a similar manner, but focus on substantially larger prey. The jabiru's prey can reach the size of a young caiman. The lesser adjutant, Leptoptilos javanicus, also known as the Sunda marabou, is likewise predominantly a fish eater. Abdim's stork, a close relative of the white stork, follows a very different feeding strategy. It is a bird of the open savanna, largely independent of water, and feeds almost exclusively on insects, especially locusts and caterpillars. Rather than stalking prey, it moves rapidly through grasslands, snapping up food while in motion. Yellow-billed storks are specialized for hunting in very shallow, muddy, and turbid water. Because their eyes are ineffective under such conditions, they forage by moving through the water with their bills submerged. Using their feet, they stir up the substrate to flush out prey. When an animal touches the bill, it snaps shut instantly. Their diet consists mainly of small fish, crustaceans, and aquatic insects. A special case within this group is the milky stork, which specializes in extracting mud skippers from mangrove mudflats. Openbills are completely specialized feeders, consuming almost exclusively aquatic snails, particularly apple snails. The extraction of the snail from its shell takes place underwater. The upper mandible presses the shell against the substrate, while the sharp lower mandible penetrates the operculum and severs the muscle that anchors the snail to its shell. The snail is then pulled out and swallowed. The widespread belief that openbills crack snail shells in the characteristic gap of their bill, like a nutcracker, is a myth. Marabous and the greater adjutant, Leptoptilos dubius, also known historically as Argala marabou, employ yet another feeding strategy as scavengers. Their bills are poorly suited for opening carcasses, so this task must usually be performed by other animals. Once a carcass is opened, they pull out the flesh, swallowing pieces weighing up to 1 kilogram whole. At carcasses, marabous compete with vultures, hyenas, and jackals, using their powerful bills primarily as weapons to assert dominance. However, marabous are not exclusive scavengers. Like other storks, they also hunt fish, amphibians, and rodents. In Africa, marabous sometimes raid flamingo colonies, taking eggs, chicks, and even adult birds, which they drown by forcing their heads underwater. Persistent harassment by marabous can cause entire flamingo colonies to abandon their breeding sites. Storks are known from the fossil record since at least the Oligocene. The oldest widely accepted stork species is Paleoephipiorhynchus diatrichae, discovered in Egypt. An even older form, Eosiconia sanguinensis, is of uncertain affinity and may not represent a true stork. By the Miocene, the modern genera of true storks, Ciconia, marabous, Leptoptilos, and the saddle-billed and giant storks, Ephipiorhynchus, were already present. That's it for now. In the next episode, we'll take a closer look at Dragonite and its surprising connection to Scheherazade. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and tune in next time.